Hey you guys, welcome back to the Alpha platform. Before we get started today, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for the love and support. Today I'm going to be talking about how I escaped a gay cult. This is a rather serious topic and a topic I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about. I have been documenting and journaling my life since the age of 22 years old. And one day I will release a memoir as I get older, probably into my 50s. I'll finally drop that memoir. And this is a story from those journaling sessions, essentially. When I would say in my mid to late 20s, I got really heavily involved in Christianity. There was a point in time where I felt like I had this epiphany in the religion in terms of finally understanding that we were set free, through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. It just rang, it rung a bell in my head, and it finally began to make sense. And I just went like head forward into the religion, finally just head forward into the religion because I was learning so much and I was very excited about what I was learning about. And I wanted to share those experiences with other LGBT plus people because I felt like we all, many of us grew up in the church. Many of us grew up in the church. We have, relatives still involved in the church. And many of us would like to still be involved in the church. And we just felt like there was not a space or a place for us. And I'm going to come back to this later. But I felt like I needed to go forth and kind of create my own ministry for people just like myself and help us to have like a better relationship with Christ. So I did that. I went to churches, tried out several different churches. My husband and I, we settled on a church. It was not LGBTQ plus affirming, but they were welcoming enough for us at that moment in time. So, we went to that church, had great experiences. Was I rebaptized? I can't remember, all the details about the story, but, met the pastor, had a good relationship with the pastor, had a good relationship with the elder, later found out that the elder was gay, and that's why the elder was so against me being with my husband, so against me not repenting for being gay, and, so against me living out and proud as a gay Christian. He hated it. And, like I said, I later found out it's because he wanted to be that way. He just felt like he couldn't as well. Man, why do I feel like why do I look like I got a cleft chin here? Maybe I do, and I just don't know about it, but yeah, it's looking crazy. That's a side note. But as we were at that church in Illinois, as time went on, I realized that the congregants began to dislike our presence in that church. They wanted to pressure us to break up, do things that we knew we were not supposed to do. Like a lot of Christians, they say that if you're doing something bad, it's going to bear fruit in your life. It's going to bear, bad fruit in your life. Ever since my husband and I have been together, only good things have happened. Yes, we've had ups and downs in our relationship, in our marriage, but overall, only good things have happened. I've watched him grow. He's watched me grow. We are kindred spirits. We are linked together. And, I knew that what the church was trying to tell me to do in terms of breaking up with my husband, leaving my husband, was the wrong thing to do. I knew it. I knew it in my soul, in my heart. I knew it. And I wasn't going to allow them to convince me to do something that I knew we shouldn't do. So there came a point in time when I knew that we had to leave that church. And as we were searching for a new church, I was looking at, LGBT plus affirming churches only. And at one point in time, another pastor who was LGBTQ, he reached out to me on social media, on Instagram. He was like, hey, I've seen your ministry online. I see what you're doing on YouTube. I see what you're doing on Instagram. I really like what you're doing. Will you come and check out our church? And I was like, okay, let me look up this church and let me look up everything. And yeah, everything is cool. Like the dude was married. He had a decent congregation. He was very gifted, like a very gifted orator, very talented in his preaching abilities. This man was extremely gifted. I will not take that away from him. So I told my husband, hey, Jaime, I'll give you guys his name. That's it. That's all I'm giving you. I'm a private person. That's all I'm giving you. I told my husband, hey, let's check out this church. Let's leave. Let's check out this church because I'm tired of these people coming down on us. I'm tired of them not focusing on just not willing to look at our heart and our eagerness to learn more about Christ and to serve people and to serve our community, and all their focusing on is our sex life. Like, being gay is more than just our sex life, you know, like that's all straight people focus on, like what type of sex we're having. And you know, I like to tell these people, it's not about sex. Like, sex can't keep us together for 10 years. Like, my husband and I have been together almost 10 years. Sex cannot keep you together with another person for 10 years. It doesn't work that way, but yet they still insist on the sexual act. So anyhow, we're looking, and I convinced him to like kind of give this new church a try, and we did. So the pastor of this gay affirming church, him and I would meet up. We would talk about ministry. We would talk about each other's lives, our interactions with Christ, our experiences with religion. And I was very green when it comes to religion because I didn't grow up in the church. Like, we only went to church every blue moon when I was growing up. So now that I've had this epiphany about religion and really wanting to get involved and wanting to start a ministry, I needed a mentor. I needed someone to guide me and help me to learn how to run a ministry, how to run a church. So I linked up with him and I got to know him. And I will never forget this. As we were taking walks in downtown Chicago, he told me something. He was like, hey, I went through X, Y, and Z in my past, and I was born not through sexual intercourse. And, you know, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm telling you, this is what I'm telling him in this moment in time. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. Oh, really? Wow. But in my mind, I'm saying to myself, this shit is crazy. Like, this is crazy. This is not possible. Like, I've heard on very, 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 very rare occasions where a woman has gotten pregnant after a man has relieved himself on her thigh. And somehow, she ends up becoming pregnant by that. I've seen episodes about that. Fine. But I didn't believe what he was saying in my heart. So I'm like, whatever, I'm just here to learn the business of ministry. I'm learning from you as my mentor. That's it. I'm not soaking in whatever you're trying to tell me. I don't care about that. That was red flag number one. Red flag number one. So yeah, my husband and I were like, fine, we'll go to this man's church. We end up going for a few sessions, and the man was super gifted. Just super gifted. Had the congregants screaming and cheering and crying and on their knees because he was a powerful speaker, and that was captivating. That was captivating to watch someone entertain like that, because I hate to say this, but many of us, when we go to these churches, we're going to like an entertainment session. We're going to get this emotional high. We're not really going to learn more about Christ. We're not really going to learn more about how to serve our community. We're going to get the emotional high to get through our week, our work week. Does that make sense? On one occasion, my husband joined me, and the pastor, oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to like filter all this like craziness in my head. On one occasion, my husband joined me, and the pastor, was preaching at a conference. And I was just there filming the conference because that was my main responsibility in his church, was to film and run social media. So I did it. And it was time, it was time to, I guess, exorcise demons out of people. I don't know what happens in the Baptist church, the Kojic church. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, drop down in the comments below. So it was time for him to like lay hands on people and do stuff like that. And I would watch people like fall out screaming and yelling. And then the next minute, they were fine. So I'm like, this stuff looks weird. This is cringy. This is weird. This is fake. This is fake. Like, I understand what the Bible says in the New Testament about what the apostles should be doing. But as a person who went to seminary school, I truly believe that was, if it truly came from Jesus, that was his instructions for the apostles of that day, not for us today. So it's weird that, churches and church leaders want to like actually reenact the events and the scenes from the New Testament when we're not supposed to be doing that. So I watched him do it. I watched him do that right then and there, and it was so fake and contrived, and it was just like, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. They told me to shut off the camera, stop filming, and of course I did, but all I kept thinking in my head was, please don't come and lay hands on me, because if you do, I'm not falling out, I'm not making a scene, I'm not making a fool of myself, I'm not giving you the show that everyone else is giving you, because that's not who I am. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Luckily, he never laid hands on me. Perfectly fine, you know, at that day. I think my husband and I reached our breaking point when this church leader, wanted to impart gifts onto his congregants. And in my mind, once again, I'm thinking, I'm just going to play along with this. I don't really believe in this stuff. I'm just here to learn the business of ministry. I don't believe in anything that he's teaching, preaching, whatever. I'm here to learn how to run a church. So it was my turn to go up there. And of course, I knelt down and, you know, let him do whatever he wanted to do and say whatever he wanted to say. But my husband had a very violent reaction to that. And I understand why now. But looking back, I'm like, man, like, I'm just playing a game. Like, I'm playing the game because I want to get the knowledge to move on with my life. But after that, you know, things were never the same. My husband's like, you need to leave. This is not right. This is a cult. People are mean. You know, people here are mean to me because I'm married to you. There were, you know, the worship leader, you know, he wanted to be with me. He had a crush on me, and he was upset that I was married to a Mexican man. Like, sometimes y'all, you know, you black gays, you like to get mad when you see black men, in interracial relationships, but like I like to say, it's not your business. Like, you don't want to get involved in whatever relationship or marriage someone is in, because it's just going to create a disaster, not only for the people involved in the marriage, but for you yourself. You don't want to get involved. It's not your business. There are plenty of single gay men out here that you can court and get to know, but, you know, don't get involved. Don't start asking questions. Don't mistreat married people because you want to be involved with one of the people in the marriage. It's not your place. So yeah, it was just, we reached a huge breaking point. And my husband's like, you cannot go back. You can't do this anymore. And, you know, he had a very violent reaction to it. And I don't mean physically violent, but just an emotional reaction to what he witnessed. And sometimes when you're in a church, you need an outside perspective to keep you grounded, you know, to keep you from falling into the chaos, into the spiritual and mental gymnastics that take place within theology. You need someone there to say, hey, hold on, this is crazy. This is crazy. And that's what he did for me. So sure enough, after that experience, I left the church, and you know, me and some of the congregants, we're still friends to this day. I still talk to them on Facebook. I have nothing against these people. Nothing. I love these people are great. Love is such a powerful word. I don't want to use that, but I have a lot of admiration and respect for these people, because after all, they found a home. They found a community of people. And as black queer people, what we really want is community. So who am I to tell them that their community is not correct? You know, that they should leave their community when many of us have been rejected by our birth communities, our families, our friends. You know, many of us, those of us who are trans, we can't find, you know, employment. Like, in this day and age, we are desperate for community. So I would never, you know, talk down on them. I would never encourage them to leave that community. If they're getting something from it, so be it. I'm fine with it. But as I look back on that situation, it's just, let me back up a little bit. And I'm going to tell you guys something. And, you know, it's hard for me to talk about this, but I recently got a message from the first gentleman of that church. He was married to the lead pastor, the one that told me that, you know, he was conceived through, you know, not through ordinary sex. And in that message, he told me that he was divorcing that pastor. And I was shocked. Like, I was shocked because when you look at these religious leaders, you think they're perfect. Like, you think they're perfect. Like, how is it that you can be so gifted and so talented and, you know, be preaching at this conference and that conference, have people falling out, have people, you know, flipping out and you laying hands on people and they falling out and they just doing all types of craziness. How can you be so gifted in one area but not keep your marriage together? You know, how can that happen? How can that happen? So when the first gentleman told me like, hey, yeah, me and this dude, we're getting a divorce, I was shocked, man. I was shocked because I'm like, dang, I told my husband, dang, like we've been together longer than them, and you know, like we're not even religious anymore. Like it's just crazy, but it just shows you that the love that I have for my husband and the love he has for me is real. It's the real deal. So yeah, they got a divorce. And as I look back on my time at the church, and I want to use this as a cautionary tale for you all, I noticed that the church leadership, they wore Gucci belts. They wore name brand or, you know, luxury loafers. They drove around in a Range Rover. You know, they were living a life of luxury in ministry. And these are poor people, you know, giving their tithes and offerings and whatnot. And meanwhile, me at that time, while I was trying to build a ministry, I had left my job. So ministry for me was going to be YouTube. I have hundreds of videos on this channel that are private. I will never release those videos. But ministry for me was going to be YouTube. So I quit my job to focus strictly on YouTube. And I did that. So we were driving around in an older car. You know, my husband and I at that time, we were, you know, working odd jobs, you know, what do you call it? Gig work. Gig work. And I'm just so grateful for my husband for sticking by my side, because I was a man that was a 9-to-5 corporate dude, always making good money. We had just bought a house, I would say a year and a half prior. But he trusted me. He trusted my vision. He trusted my goals. And we made it through that effort with no job. We made it through that time with no job. Oh my gosh, man, these kids are so loud. And I'm so appreciative to my husband for sticking by my side during that time. But yeah, while we were living broke, really in Christianity, church leadership was living high off the hog, opening new churches, wearing the nicest clothes, bags, jewelry, cars, and I'm just like, this doesn't seem right in my book. And the reason why I bring this story to you guys is I want to caution you from joining churches where the leadership is enamored with luxury, with name brands, with living high off the hog, with living a life of luxury. And you know, along those same lines, I want to caution you, and I want you just to remember that if a person has a financial interest in what they are doing, you want to take their words with a grain of salt. Because remember, their money is tied into what they are preaching. Their money is tied into how many people are going to that church. Be careful out here. Be careful out here. I recently had a conversation with my mother the other day. We're on amicable terms. We just agreed to respect each other's differences. And, you know, she's dating a bisexual man. She's dating a bisexual man right now. And she's so frustrated with that man because he keeps breaking up with her. He's not going to marry her. You know, he's in his 50s. You know, the dude does movie nights with his guy friends on Fridays. What grown man does that? I'm in my 30s, bro. I'm not having no movie night with a bunch of dudes that are not my husband. Like, why would I do that? He's always going on vacation with these dudes. He's spending hours in saunas. Like, the dude, something is wrong with this dude. But yet he goes to church. Heavily involved in the church. Very opinionated about male and female gender roles and whatnot. But the dude, you're a whole bisexual. My mom is frustrated with that. Excuse me, you guys. Because he won't commit. So I asked her one day, I'm like, hey, do you feel like your inability to get this man to commit and your inability to find love, and the reason why this man is bisexual and he was brought into your life is because you have not learned to love and accept your gay son? And her rebuttal to that was, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that homosexuality is a curse, you know, just like drinking and blah, blah, you choosing to do it, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. calmly, because at this point her words don't affect me anymore because I know who she is. I've accepted her for who she is and I know what she thinks. So I said, okay. But it's funny that you've been so homophobic towards me my entire life. You're chastising me right now for not going to church, for not believing in Christianity right now, but yet you're involved with an openly bisexual man. Make it make sense. Make it make sense to me, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I want to, caution every black, especially us black LGBT plus people, about these churches. Be careful where you go and sit and soak up energy, vibes. Be careful where you go. Man, I'm getting text messages. Be careful where you go, because that stuff will manifest in your life. Like, if people are constantly telling you that you're condemned, that you're cursed, that's going to manifest in your life, in your behavior, in the partners that you choose to date, and the people that you choose to love, how you carry yourself throughout this world. The minute I broke free from Christianity was the minute my life took off. My money took off. The love affair with my husband improved. So many areas of my life improved the minute I said goodbye to Christianity. Goodbye. Although I had come to know that there was a place for me in the body of Christ as an openly gay person, as someone who had a husband, I just realized all this stuff is man-made. So for you out there, create the life you want to have. God is not in the church. God, the universe, whatever you believe in, he's not in the Bible. God is living inside of you. The universe, the sacred being, the sacred power, whatever you believe in, it's inside of you. You know what you need to do with your life. You know where you need to go with your life. You have a purpose on this earth. And the more time you spend trying to fit within the confines of the Bible, of religion, these are precious moments in your life you will never get back. Wasted time, wasted opportunities, wasted romances, wasted love. Don't spend a day of your life believing what you were taught as a child. As a man, as a grown adult, you need to learn how to question every single thing you are taught and learn to think for yourself, because you know what's best for you. Get away from these churches. If they're, like when we were in Mexico, I would go to a Catholic church to appease my mother-in-law. But the minute that priest would get up there and just out of the blue start condemning homosexuals and blah, I walked out. I'm not doing this stuff anymore. I'm not doing this stuff. I am not cursed. I am not condemned. If you have a problem with me, that is your problem. These Christians are out here getting divorces, multiple marriages, babies outside of wedlock, fornicating, you name it. You name it. On drugs, alcohol, you name it. They are doing it. They are doing it. Bro, one of my mentors, having babies on his wife. And I'm like, how can y'all do that? Like, how can y'all do that? And it's like, I'm not saying that like, oh, I'm better than y'all, because everybody is prone to make mistakes. But it's like, don't y'all know better? So one of the tenets of the faith is, if you're living by faith and you're in ministry and you're running a church, if you don't do right by God, whatever you're trying to build is going to fail. Whatever you're doing is going to fail without him. But yet, we can't stop doing the very things he tells us not to do. So, what I think Christians today need to realize is the tenets and the rules that your religion puts forth, those are for you to follow. For you to follow, not for the rest of us. Especially those of us who do not believe in that garbage. Because I don't believe in that garbage. There are a lot of lonely people out here. My mother included, a lot of lonely, single people out here. And, as you get up in age, it's harder and harder to find a partner. So what they do is they get up in age 50s, 60s, and they run to these churches and look to Jesus as their husband or whatnot. Meanwhile, never knowing that when you're a young person, whether you're male or female, Those are the times to find a partner. Those are the times to find a partner. But when you get into your 50s and 60s, you missed your chances. You missed your opportunity because you thought the dude was too square when you were 20. You thought he was lame when you were 30. He didn't make enough money. He wasn't driven enough. All this stupid stuff that we tend to focus on is going to lead us down a path of destruction when we are older. And that's why I get on this channel and I advocate for y'all to get married, to find a husband, to find a long-term partner. Because as you get older, it is hard out here and it's just going to get harder. I don't know what y'all are going to do. I don't know. And I feel bad for y'all. So, yeah, man, stop going to these churches. Stop. You don't have to believe everything everyone else believes. Just because your mom said or believed something doesn't mean you have to believe it. Just because your grandma said or believed something doesn't mean you have to, follow suit. Stop being a follower and start being a leader. Lead your own life. Build your own foundation. I'm getting on Break My Soul because, man, when that song came out, it was like affirmation for me that, yeah, this is it for me. Because I was already teetering around like, man, how do I explain to my followers? How do I explain to the people that I just preached to at this conference that I don't believe in this crap anymore? How do I explain to the people that follow my podcast, Christian and Gay OK, back in the day? Shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for the love and support. But how do I explain to y'all that I don't believe the same things that I used to believe? And I realized that, part of being an adult, part of maturing is it's okay to change your beliefs. It's simply okay. We are not cursed. We are not condemned. We are human beings. I truly believe, we are spiritual beings having this human experience. And who knows what happens after death? Who knows? Like, everything you hear about people saying, oh, you're going to hell, blah, 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 all that is gossip. All of those things are rumors. Because we don't know. People don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. So how can they tell you where you're going? They don't even know where they're going. And my rebuttal to these people is like, okay, fine. If I'm going to hell, fine. That's exactly what I tell my mom when she goes off. Okay, I'm going to hell. Okay, fine. That's where I'm going. Not going to stop me. It's sad because I truly feel like religion has brainwashed so many people. Kept us poor, kept us in poverty, told us a lie that, suffer here on earth and you'll have paradise, heaven later. Meanwhile, other people are just having their heaven here and now, living good here and now. So why do we as Black, LGBT plus people, whatever we call it, are we made to suffer here on earth just for a paradise that may or may not come later in the afterlife? Yeah, man, I say this from the heart. I really want, if you are going to a church that does not accept all of you, that's not willing to nurture all of you, and you feel like you have to hide in the shadows and the people only want your gifts, your musical gifts, your whatever gifts you have, because us as gay people, we are extremely gifted. I would say we are the most gifted people on planet Earth. Because I truly feel like the universe, whatever you believe in, it's a yin and yang. Yeah, you're going to suffer an incredible amount in this area, but I'm also going to make up for it in this area, in another area. Yeah, you're not accepted socially, but man, you're going to be incredibly gifted. You're going to have a good head on your shoulders. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to bless a lot of people. You're going to, contribute to your community. You're going to do great things in the world. But to humble you, to keep you empathetic, to keep you from not being cocky and arrogant, I'm going to give you this other thing that's going to humble you a little bit. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's a curse. It's not meant to condemn you. It's just part of life. There's yin and yang. There's ups and downs. There's peaks and valleys. It's just part of life, you guys. Man, leave these churches alone. Say goodbye to the plantation. Say goodbye. Some of y'all are addicted to like a beat down every Sunday. Y'all love it. Go to therapy. Go see a psychiatrist. Handle your trauma. Fall in love. Pursue your person, your purpose, your passion. Get married. Start a business, bro. Like, I could just go on and on. I'm smiling because being free is priceless. Being able to look yourself in the mirror every day and love what you see is priceless. For so long, I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. And I'm so happy that I feel like I have a second lease on life in my 30s. All the suffering I endured as a child, a teenager, the neglect, the abuse, being told I'm not wanted, being told I should have been put up for adoption, having an alcoholic father, a father that wasn't present. I'm so happy that I overcame all of that. And I did it on my own. No one had to tell me to be a good student. No one had to tell me to learn from the mistakes of the people around me. No one had to tell me how to escape the life of poverty that I was given. I instinctively knew what to do, and I did it. I worked my butt off and I did it, and now I'm reaping the rewards. And now people are calling me, the same people that condemned me when I was a child, told me I was an FAG, told me I was too feminine, told me, uncross your legs, you always want to be a girl, blah, blah, when I was just being myself. Those are the same people that are relying on me to this day, calling me for my resources to this day. And guess what? I don't got it. Nope, I don't got it, because guess what? My main priority right now is my family, meaning my husband and myself and the children we will have in the future. That is my main obligation as a man, is my family. Everybody else, my mother, my father, my cousins, if I got it, I'll help you if I can. If I can't, if I don't have it, fine. That's on y'all. Y'all made y'all choices with y'all life. I made my choices. And if I'm living in sin and I'm going to hell, why am I so blessed? Why is my money going up? Why am I getting promotion after promotion? Why do I have a husband, someone that loves me unconditionally, someone that loves me in a way my own mother and father don't love me? Why do I have a husband that loves me that way and you don't? How have I been able to keep one marriage, meanwhile you're on your second and third marriage? Tell me. If I'm living in sin and I'm so condemned and blah, 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 tell me. I truly feel in my heart that a lot of Christians are jealous of us gay people. They are extremely jealous because they can't figure out how we're supposed to be living in sin yet so blessed at the same time. They can't figure it out. They can't. So all they can do is lash out. So yeah, man, that's how I escaped the gay cult. I'm tempted to text, the first gentleman that I used to know and ask him what happened. But I don't want to be nosy. I don't want to be intrusive. But what happened? And I have a feeling it came down to finances. I have a feeling that, the lead pastor was pressuring his husband, who was in finance, to get more loans for the church. Do whatever he can, fix the numbers to get additional funding for the church so he can expand it. And the dude finally said enough is enough. Enough is enough. But yeah, man, what are you guys' experiences with churches? Are you still going to church today? Have you broken free from what you've been taught as a child in terms of religion and being gay? Have you learned to accept yourself? Have you learned to have some sort of relationship with a higher power? I'm not referring to God, like the universe, whatever it is you believe in. What does that look like for you today? And how have you coped with being able to prosper despite the evil things people say to you about who you are? Man, I gotta work like crazy, but yeah, that's a good ending to this. Excuse me, you guys. That's a good ending to this video. I just want to thank you all so much for the love and support. We're growing. I have some very exciting announcements coming up very soon. You guys are gonna see something launch on this channel. And I'm a creator. I'm an artist. I refer to myself as a Renaissance man. I have interest in science, literature, English, business. I'm doing so many different things in my life because I'm truly interested in so many different things, you know. So I'm proud that I'm not one dimensional. You guys are gonna see that unfold as you grow with me on this channel, because I truly feel I'm gonna have this channel until the day that I die. I'm gonna make content until the day that I die, because you guys have become my community, part of my community, part of my world, and I want to share that world. Thank you guys so much. Wolf is back with Back Tech Care, and peace.